My name is still Teddy, and today I'm going to talk about ways that you can reprogram your mind so that you can change your life. So I'm going to break down something that has changed lives, something that's so simple yet we overlook it every day. This thing is the words that we speak. The law of the mind is your words create your reality. So your mind is not just a processor of words. It takes every thought, every phrase that you repeat, and it builds your reality around it. Proverbs 18:21 says, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue." You see that neuroplasticity proves that the brain literally rewires itself based on the repeated thoughts. So when you think or say something often enough, your brain strengthens that pathway. So it's like carving a groove into a stone. If you constantly are telling yourself that you're not good enough, or that you'll never succeed, or you can't afford that, so what's happening is your brain is actively reinforcing these things and turning them into your way of life.
Act of rehearsing mentally in your mind who you want to be, the act of just closing your eyes and mentally rehearsing that scene literally causes the brain to look like you already did it. It looks like it's already happened, right? So now you're priming the brain neurologically. Keep doing it over and over again. The hardware becomes more automatic, like a software program. You naturally get your behaviors to match your intentions, and because you installed the circuitry. Practice feeling the elevated emotion. If you feel that emotion and you say, when I feel this emotion, I can believe in that future, then let me just keep remembering to feel this way in every part of my day. And this is not about positive thinking. This is about conditioning my body emotionally into the future. So I got to keep my energy up the entire day, and I can't default back to the old person. As long as I'm feeling this emotion, I'm going to behave that way. As long as I'm feeling this emotion, I'm going to believe in that future. If I maintain this modified state of mind and body my entire day as an experiment, should there be some evidence in my life as a result of my change in state of being, a synchronicity, a coincidence? And if there is, then I'm going to do it again. I'm going to actually do it again. And I think that's how we start stepping into that future.
The thing that we have to remember is that our brain is the most sophisticated technology on this planet. So it's taking in all the information all the time. It's using that information as a blueprint, as a coding to help structure your life. Okay, so why are we saying it's just 3 days? The number 3 is not just an arbitrary number. 3 represents resurrection, transformation, and a new beginning. So science of habit formation states that the first 48 to 72 hours of change are the hardest because your brain is fighting against established patterns. But once you push past that, the momentum will kick in. And I actually experienced this through fasting, where the first day is usually the hardest. The first day, you're just, all the influences, all the smells, everything is just triggering you. Day 1 of you trying something new is just naturally going to be harder because you're just used to doing certain things, and your brain and body is just used to that. So it's going to try to keep you in that same pattern. So day 1 of fasting, anytime I do a long fast, is always incredibly hard. Day 2, it gets a little bit easier, but you're still having to fend off the, some people have hunger pangs or just emotional withdrawals of not having food. It's important to remember that day 1 will be difficult because you've been doing the same thing for so many years. So remember that repetition, you continuing to repeat this thing, will allow you, your mind, your body to believe that it's true. And this is the thing that it goes both for the things that you prefer to do in your life and the things that you don't prefer to do. So if you know what your preferences are, if you've figured out what it is that you want to do, then start acting in accordance to that, even if you don't yet believe it. Because as you continue to do it, that repetition will create that belief within you. And Romans 12:2 says, do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And what this renewing is, it comes about by repetition. So remember, at first your mind won't believe these new words or phrases, or these things that you're telling yourself at first, but make sure you say them anyway. Say them and repeat it over and over, and that will start to create a shift. And so an example is whenever you catch yourself thinking something that's negative, replace that immediately. So an example would be, an old thought would say, oh, maybe I'm just not good at this. And you can replace that with a new thought in your mind, which would be something like, I am learning to understand this more and more every day. So it's not about lying to yourself, and it's not about fighting this negative pattern. Because again, if you fight it, it's just going to make it stronger. It's more so about redirecting that mental energy into something that's more positive, into something that's going towards the direction that you are trying to lean into. On day one, it's mainly about you planting the seeds. You will plant it and continue to fertilize it. So now on day two, this is where your mind starts to run out of resistance. So it's kind of like a kid that's been throwing a tantrum. Eventually that kid is gonna get tired and go to sleep. And so what's happening is your brain starts to create new neural pathways instead of relying on the old ones. And these new pathways are based on the things that you've been repeating to yourself. And this is a scientific fact where your subconscious, it processes something like 400 billion bits of information per second. And what's interesting is because it's processing so much, it needs something to really focus on. It tends to focus more on your words. Your words are literally deciding what your brain is paying attention to. So your words are kind of like the codes that are getting inputted into your mind. And then once your mind starts to believe that, the output is the person that you are looking at in the mirror. Another really important part of all this is that the repetition of these patterns is what translates into your mind believing that this is true. And once you really believe in a thing, you are able to create this thing. So the belief, the feeling, the emotional conviction of these things, that's what you can use to manifest the things that you desire in your life. And this is why Mark 11:23 says, truly I tell you, if anyone says to the mountain, go throw yourself into the sea, and does not doubt in their heart, but believes that what they say will happen, it will be done for them. So you are speaking your future in your mind. That's where you'll start to make that happen. Now, day 3, this is where the shift starts to happen. Your mind starts to actually look for proof. Whereas at first, on the first day, it's looking for ways to deny you. It's looking for ways to object to the new patterns. But now day 3, it's looking for the proof. Your mind stops rejecting the new thoughts and starts to look for evidence that will support it. So instead of, that old thought of, oh, I'm not good enough, your brain now starts to notice ways that you're improving. So instead of, it's saying you're not good enough or you can't afford it, your brain starts looking for opportunities. Your brain starts witnessing the ways that you are improving. And so what science calls this is confirmation bias, which is whatever you focus on, your brain filters reality to match that. Instead of focusing on the thought that, oh, maybe you can't afford that, your brain will start to find ways where you can afford it. It will start to look for opportunities and different pathways to confirm the fact that you can afford it, to confirm these things that you've been telling, that you've been programming your brain. Then you have Philippians 4:8 that gives us this exact same formula. It says, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. So it's telling you to focus your mind on the things that are on the right side. Focus your mind on the things that you actually want to manifest in your life. Okay, now it's time for the actual game plan. Here's how we will be able to apply this every day so that we can become the person that we want to be, so that we can really upgrade our life. So we'll start in the morning. We have to build this morning routine. This will help us set the tone for the day. So before reaching for your phone, right after you wake up, take 1, 2, or 3 deep breaths and say something powerful to yourself. You can make it whatever it is that you want. Something like, I am stepping into my purpose today, or success flows to me naturally, or the relationships that I want to grow, they are in the process of growing. Science backs this, where it says the first 5 minutes after waking up, that's when your brain is the most programmable. So this is when you want to be able to set your intentions for the day. And also what's important, I've said it many times, is that you have this emotional conviction. It's very important that you can feel this. You're not just saying these empty words. These words need to be backed by feeling. So close your eyes, take a deep breath, close your eyes and feel what you are saying. So then you can feel the atoms within your body starting to change and transform the person that you are. So next is throughout the day. Throughout the day, you will be catching these negative phrases or negative thoughts, and you will be replacing it. If you need to, keep a notebook, a notepad app. And so whenever you catch yourself saying something that's not in alignment to where you're trying to go or where you're trying to be, you write that down and immediately replace it. So maybe an old thought would be something that, you're trying to figure out something at work and you say, oh man, I'm never going to be able to understand this. So you cancel that and you replace it with a new thought that says, okay, I'm in the process of mastering this. And once you're ready for bed, you do a nighttime routine. And this nighttime routine is where you are going to be rewiring your subconscious. So before bed, repeat something positive and powerful to yourself. Something like, while I sleep, my mind is organizing itself for success. Another example is, every experience today has made me stronger for tomorrow. So these are words of empowerment. And it's important because your subconscious works while you're sleeping. What I want you to do is commit to doing something like this for 3 days. You really want to make a real shift in how you operate, so that you can really shift how your operating system works.